Oh, what's going on, guys? Gamer Dude back once again, bringing you some more informative gaming news. But before we begin, you all know the routine, or at least I hope you do by now. If you aren't new to the channel, please make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe, because it would just be your good deed of the day. Same applies if you are a returning viewer. Now then, some troubling news has been circulating regarding Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Now, I'm not sure if you are aware, but there was a massive data leak around Insomniac games sometime last year, and a lot of future content that Insomniac had planned was revealed in those leaks. And not to mention, in one of the recent Marvel Spider-Man 2 updates, they kind of, I don't know if it was accidental, but they left in the dev menu, which revealed a lot of, well, basically what they had planned for the future of the game. And one of those was titled Beetle DLC. So, yeah. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to be discussing and covering what the future holds for Marvel Spider-Man 2, whether or not we are actually going to be getting any DLC, and why Insomniac have been so quiet around all of this. You know, they haven't given us any information at all. So, let's get right into the video. Now, as I mentioned, I do believe Insomniac are being rather quiet. And I do believe this is because we're not getting any DLC for Spider-Man 2 anymore. I believe it was planned, but I don't think we're getting it anymore, and that's down to the leaks. I believe because the leaks came out the way they did, that it's caused the DLC to be cut completely. Now, there's no doubt that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is one of the best games of 2023, in spite of it not getting a single nomination at the Game Awards, but let's gloss over that. Peter Parker and Miles Morales might have managed to save the city again from various villains, but are their adventures over or not? Now, it did leave a lot of questions unanswered about what comes next, especially given that whole Flame DLC and the possibility of Carnage. While many have hoped that a DLC would expand upon the game's story, some believe that Insomniac leaks might have axed entirely the possibility of future expansion. Because think about it, by this point, the first Spider-Man game from 2018, that had already received multiple DLCs in regards to suits, and it had received a lot of information regarding its City That Never Sleeps DLC. And Spider-Man 2, we've had nothing. I mean, we've only had the addition of a couple of new suits, and that's a little bit worrying. Now, a lot of fans are beginning to believe that there won't actually be a Marvel Spider-Man 2 DLC due to all the leaks, as I mentioned earlier. Now, the game does take a respectable 17 to 20 hours to beat, so it's not like it's short. But DLC, it gives the possibility, it gives that possibility of replayability. You know, it gives people a chance to come back to the game. But the main story of Spider-Man 2, you can do it in around about 29 hours. And so it's not a short game by any means. But it isn't as long as any other AAA games tend to be these days, so that kind of makes people go, meh, I don't see the point playing it again. Not me, I'm not one of those, I've played it several times. But yeah, due to the game's length, players had been hoping that the developers would deliver a DLC, much like The City That Never Sleeps, that could give the game a new burst of life. And once again, the aforementioned leak that was hit last year on Insomniac, it saw the developers' plans for essentially the next decade spread all across the internet for all prying eyes to see. Now, ever since that incident, the studio has been too quiet about its upcoming projects, including Marvel's Wolverine. Now, it's starting to cause intense fear among Insomniac's community, Spider-Man 2 players, about the game's future. There's several quotes on X and everything from players all over the world, really. One specifically here says, "We are waiting for a DLC for this game, but there's a problem. Insomniac games are too quiet." I found several more related to that. That was just the one that stood out the most to me. But yeah, it's been 8 months since the release of the game, and Insomniac still hasn't announced any kind of DLC plans for the game. They've even been silent on what additional suits they're going to be adding. Yeah, we've got those suits that those football players, I think it was, designed, but that was about it. Many in the Insomniac community believe any planned expansion for the game might have been cancelled after the studio's unfortunate leaks. Now, I am going to guess, and again, take this with a grain of salt, because after I post this video, Insomniac could announce something, but yeah, that's usually the way it goes for content creators. But yeah, I do believe that they may have actually canned the DLC after all these leaks. And that's just not going off what all the fans have said, but simply because even I've noticed that Insomniac have been rather quiet, as opposed to the 2018 version of the game that was getting updates every other week, new suits added every other week, and Spider-Man 2 has had nothing. Now, few in the community feel like the developers are redoing the entire expansion for Marvel Spider-Man 2 to maintain an element of surprise and ensure a polished experience. But if that was the case, then I'm pretty sure they would have told us something about a delay or something about something new coming, but they just haven't done anything. Now, others do feel like the studio has just completely abandoned the DLC for Spider-Man 2 and is focusing more on polishing the upcoming Wolverine game, which I wouldn't have a problem with because that game does look epic. And yes, I'm going off what I saw on the leaks. I know, I'm a terrible person. But still, if something gets leaked, you're going to watch it, you know? Especially if it's something you want to do, you want to see, you want to play. But yeah, anyway. The possibilities for a DLC are endless in a game like Spider-Man 2. It can extend the game's lifespan, keep players engaged, and generate additional revenue for the studio's upcoming projects. Let's hope the developers do justice to the characters and give us something new to look forward to. Now, once again, I come back to what I said earlier about the whole dev menu and the Beetle DLC. Now, while the studio hasn't announced anything for the game, they could have accidentally leaked it themselves, you know. But back in March, the studio released the update 1.002, which added New Game Plus and a handful of suits. However, there was something that Insomniac didn't intend fans to lay their eyes on. In the update was the addition of the developers menu, which they seemingly left in place. This developer menu allowed gamers to access various builds of the title and to head directly to specific missions and activities, as well as see things that they weren't supposed to see. Now, under the missions and activities page, in the developer menu and the Silver Path tab, gamers came across various missions named Beetle Villain Arc, a classic Spidey enemy that's been around for decades, and Beetle can't be found anywhere in the base game for Spider-Man 2. Now, it is rumoured that if this were to happen, that this version of Beetle would actually be Tombstone's daughter, which is interesting in of itself. But yeah, due to this, fans and many players believe that the Beetle villain is supposed to be the subject of an upcoming DLC for the game. However, once again, Insomniac hasn't commented on any of these leaks or the validity of them as yet. So what do you think anyway? Do you think Insomniac will give us a DLC for Marvel Spider-Man 2? Or do you think, like myself, that they've decided to can it completely and just do something else? Or just can it completely and leave it at that? Maybe they could fill up the missing links in the Venom game, because we do know that they are actually actively working on a Venom game, so they could put the missing links in that. So yeah, just let me know in the comments what you guys think. Once again, thank you all for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Sorry in advance for just being away for so long. A lot's been happening in my personal life lately. But I've not abandoned the channel. I'm not going to abandon you. Love my community. You guys are what keep me going. I do this because I love doing this. I love bringing you gaming content, and I love gaming myself. So I just enjoy sharing it with others. So yeah, that being said then, this has been Gamer Dude. Happy gaming. And I will catch you all in the next one, guys.